TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations. Shalom, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News broadcast to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, the IDF maintains a heightened state of alert in both defense and on offense, while Iran remains committed to striking Israel. Jerusalem urges Paris and London, as well as Washington, to join Israel in striking Iran in response to any Iranian attack against Israeli territory. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas blames the United States for the failure of achieving Palestinian statehood. At the backdrop of daily threats by Iran and its proxies throughout the region, including Hezbollah and Lebanon in particular, to launch a severe attack against Israel, negotiations aimed at reaching a temporary ceasefire in exchange for the release of hostages in Hamas captivity are taking place in Qatar. Negotiations began yesterday afternoon, after which negotiators expressed guarded optimism about the first day of talks, and the Israeli delegation made a last-minute decision to spend the night in the Qatari capital of Doha in order to continue their negotiations today. And while a Western negotiator labeled the ongoing talks as productive, major disagreements remain regarding Hamas's demand for a permanent ceasefire and the mechanism for moving from a stage 1 to stage 2 within the arrangement. Hamas and Israel also disagree on other issues such as the Philadelphia corridor, the Rafah crossing, the return of residents to the northern Gaza Strip, among other key issues. Meanwhile, IDF Chief of General Staff Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi visited new recruits of the Paratroopers Brigade, during the course of which he emphasized that Israel will not let Hamas regain control of the Gaza Strip.
The
Paratroopers Brigade is fighting in the Gaza Strip to dismantle the Hamas terrorist organization. This means killing its commanders, harming and killing as many of its operatives as possible, and destroying Hamas infrastructure in the Gaza Strip. After what happened on October 7th, we are not willing for Hamas to have this presence and this capability in the Gaza Strip, and we are very, very determined thanks to the fact that we have new recruits. Very moral, very strong, very determined. We will know how to persevere.
In a televised statement by IDF spokesman Rear Admiral Daniel Agari, it was announced that the IDF has thus far eliminated over 17,000 terror operatives belonging to the Islamist Hamas organization in the Gaza Strip.
IDF troops continue to fight in Gaza, operating in Rafah, Khan Yunis, the central Gaza Strip, and are striking everywhere. So far, we have eliminated over 17,000 terrorists. As part of the significant field achievements, in the last week, we dismantled approximately 50 underground tunnels in the area of the Philadelphia corridor. We are focused on locating, neutralizing, and dismantling underground infrastructure in the area. Not all of them are active tunnels, some of them are very old and have been dealt with in the past. Anyhow, we neutralize them all with the same determination. The significant combat and its high achievements are harming Hamas' ability to raise its head and rehabilitate itself, and we are determined to persist with this.
In parallel to raging battles in the Gaza Strip, the IDF, in cooperation with the ISA as well as Border Police Special Operators, conducted this week counter-terror operations throughout the West Bank districts of Judea, Samaria, and the Jordan Valley.
In the Central Command, IDF soldiers apprehended approximately 50 wanted persons throughout Judea and Samaria last week. We increased our countermeasures in the area, with an emphasis on the threat from explosives. In a joint operation by the IDF and the ISA in the Jordan Valley, the troops eliminated a key terrorist operative in a gunfight and 4 others in an aerial strike. In addition, the troops located explosives and confiscated many weapons.
Admiral Hagari further addressed unceasing peak preparedness to confront Hezbollah and Iran, while stressing that there are no new guidelines for the Israeli public.
During the last week, we improved and increased our readiness and preparation. We continue to gather intelligence and to prepare for strikes in the skies of Lebanon and in all arenas all the time. We are prepared and at peak readiness offensively and defensively, and we will act according to the instructions of the political echelon. The Israeli Air Force, the Northern Command, the Intelligence Directorate, the Operations Directorate, and the Home Front Command are all operating around the clock in terms of defense and offense. At this stage, there is no change in the Home Front Command defense policy. If there is a change to our guidelines, we will update immediately. We have our fingers on the pulse. The public's alertness and vigilance is important, and we urge you to continue to follow the guidelines on the IDF and the Home Front Command official platforms.
It is important to know that French Foreign Minister Stéphane Séjourné and British Foreign Secretary of State David Lammy visited Israel today, during the course of which Foreign Minister Israel Katz initially thanked them for their steadfast support for Israel, while further stressing that the right way to deter Iran and prevent war is by announcing that if Iran attacks, they will stand with Israel not only in defense but also in striking targets within Iran. Jerusalem's top diplomat went on to assert that Iran is the head of the axis of evil and the free world must stop it now before it's too late. Prior to visiting Israel, Paris's top diplomat Séjourné met with Lebanese officials in Beirut, after the course of which he reaffirmed France's support for Lebanon.
This
is a very simple message of support, solidarity, and responsibility, but which in this period must be necessary. France is here. France also supports Lebanon, and in this framework and in the framework of peace here in the region, where we also wish for a ceasefire in Gaza, which is an important element and an element that will be necessary to guarantee peace in the region. A very simple message from me. First of all, France's support for Lebanon at this time when we are all concerned about the regional situation. A very simple message also about de-escalation. A message addressed here to the Lebanese authorities, and it will also be addressed to other countries in the region.
Lebanese caretaker Foreign Minister Abdullah Abu Habib, for his part, thanked his French counterpart for Paris's decision to resume flights to Beirut.
His visit to Lebanon reassures us a lot, especially that he informed us that 2 French airlines will resume flights to Lebanon, with first flights tonight or tomorrow morning in Lebanon.
Abu Habib went on to stress his hope that negotiations between Hamas and Israel and Qatar would ultimately bear fruit.
It doesn't mean that there will automatically be a ceasefire in Gaza, because these discussions are happening in Doha. Hopefully they succeed. The French also hope that these discussions, or negotiations, be successful, and so does Lebanon, because it is important for us to have a ceasefire in Gaza.
Meanwhile, in Washington, Pentagon Deputy Press Secretary Sabrina Singh pointed to the successful U.S.-led operation against Iran's blatant attack against Israel back in April 13 and 14, earlier this year.
I actually think you should take a step back and realize what we did accomplish on April 13th. Yes, Iran did attack Israel in an unprecedented manner, but I'll remind you that on that day, we shot out of the sky 90% of what they threw at Israel. And that was an incredibly intricate operation with the Israeli military, our military, and our partners and allies in the region. So while you can focus on the fact that Iran did launch that attack, I think it's incredibly important to remember what U.S. forces did that day, and the fact that we will stand with Israel again, and have said that very publicly and privately.
The Pentagon's Deputy Press Secretary went on to reiterate Washington's message to Tehran and its accommodating posture throughout the CENTCOM area of responsibility.
I don't think we've actually been delicate in our messaging to Iran. We've been very clear that if Israel is attacked, we will come to the defense of Israel. You saw us do that on April 13th. I'm kind of paraphrasing what you're saying there. We will do that again. Should Israel be attacked, we absolutely will come to Israel's defense.
In other news, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas concluded a two-leg trip to both Russia and Turkey, during the course of which he displayed an anti-Western position on all that relates to the so-called Palestinian cause. During the first part of his trip, Abbas met with Russian President Vladimir Putin, during the course of which Moscow reiterated its steadfast position vis-à-vis the Palestinians, while Mahmoud Abbas seized the opportunity to blame the United States for his failure to achieve statehood.
Our position remains unchanged here. It was formulated a long time ago and does not depend on outside circumstances. We believe that in order to ensure long-standing, reliable, stable peace in the region, it is necessary to fulfill all the decisions of the United Nations and, first of all, to create a full-fledged Palestinian state. Due to the activity of the United States, its stance and pressure, the United Nations failed its mission to make one decision, except one resolution that would ensure the right of the people of Palestine of their own state.
Following his trip to Moscow, the Palestinian leader traveled to Ankara, where he met with Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, after which he made a lengthy address to Turkey's parliament, as part of which he pledged that the Palestinian Authority would seize control of the Gaza Strip and reaffirmed his commitment to establish a national unity authority between Fatah and Hamas.
فإنني أعلن أمامكم وأمام العالم أجمع.
I announce before you and before the whole world, since there are no other solutions, and before our Palestinian people first, that I have decided to go with all members of the Palestinian leadership to the Gaza Strip.
وسوف أعمل
And I will work with all my energy so that we can all be with our people to stop this barbaric aggression, even if it costs us our lives, for our lives are not more precious than that of the youngest child from the beloved Gaza Strip.
من قطاع غزة أو من الشعب الفلسطيني. إحنا مش أغلى.
And it is one of the two good things: victory or martyrdom. Victory or martyrdom.
سنبقى نعمل مخلصين من أجل وحدتنا الوطنية. هناك بحث.
We will continue to work sincerely for the national unity. There is a dialogue about national unity, which is the shortest path to achieving victory over this enemy that lurks among us and targets us all. Our unity under the banner of the Palestine Liberation Organization, the sole legitimate representative of the Palestinian people, is our safety valve, the bridge of our salvation, and our path towards freedom and independence. Thank you to all our brothers and friends, and you are amongst the first ones who have made and are making efforts with us to achieve this noble goal.
Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. It is important for us to initially highlight that TV7 Israel is a 100% donation-based nonprofit ministry with all of our productions available free of charge. Therefore, if you're blessed by our productions and would like to help support producing programs just like TV7 Israel News, Jerusalem Studio, Deep Dive, and so much more, we would deeply appreciate it if you'd consider making a donation. You can do so via our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. Separately, I'd like to personally thank all of you at home who do support TV7 Israel, both on an intermittent basis or regularly. Your donations make programs just like this one possible. Last but not least, I'd like to encourage you, pray for the peace of Jerusalem and salvation of Israel. I'm Jonathan Hassan wishing you an Erev Mevorach veBatuach, and God willing, we'll see you during our upcoming TV7 Israel News updates. Until then, Shalom from Jerusalem.